I have not changed anything. I was always an actor, always will be an actor. It's just that I just found a new craft. I like writing ever since I've been a little kid. I've been writing since I've been a little kid, but writing very badly. But over the years, I decided to learn the craft by reading books, by going and visiting New York from time to time. I met Alex over here in New York, my dear friend now, like a brother, who we discussed my script. He was so encouraging, and over the years, we remained friends. One fine day, he calls me and says, "I'm making a tuxedo." I said, "What for?" He says, "I don't like wearing tuxedos, but this time I'm very excited to wear a tuxedo." So he says, I said, "What for?" He calls up very excited. He said, "I've been nominated for the Oscars." So, and then next thing I know, 2 days later, because that party lasted for 2.5 days, he called up and said, "We won." I said, "I know, I watch television here in India. I know." And the idea behind this was, when I wrote the script, and I've met with Alex, his illustrious friends from the industry that he works with, I learned so much, and I just felt that it is wrong if just I am learning. It's important that we share. We share someone of his craft, rigor, intelligence, and simplicity at the same time to come over here. And he immediately said, "I would love to come. I want to see students. I want to see students." I said, "But there are a lot of people in the industry who will hang me if they know that you came to town and you'll go away and I'll not be allowed to live in this town." So he says, so we've invited script writers who have done 10 successful films, 5 successful films, 4, 3, 2, and some who are waiting for the film to be commissioned. And a teacher like Anju Miradavali is here, bringing them all in. Students from FTI, the entire batch, Whistling Woods, Soul Saviors, XIC, Digital, you name it. So we're getting people from the Apple Box, and we're getting kids from the Apple Tree. And Alex is here to share the wonderful stories and things that I learned from him over the years in New York.
Alex, my question is for you. I'm Rajiv Vijayakar. I write for India West in California. My question is for you that, how familiar are you with the Hindi cinema and its craft? Because ultimately, what you
began with Bowman. One of the humorous aspects of our relationship is that when I met Bowman, I wasn't familiar at all and didn't know who he was and hadn't seen any of his films. And I, at the same time, hadn't won anything or been paid a lot of attention to either. We just connected on a story that he was writing. Since meeting him now, I'm developing a taste and a fascination. And we're going to talk later about how I have a company in New York as well, where we're developing based on writers as well, which is as rare in the United States as it is here. The screenwriter always a little bit lower in the pecking order. That's just the way it is, and I don't know why. But we have similar tastes, and discussing his story, I fell in love with his story, and that didn't take me very long to then fall in love with the man and his passion, and we just clicked immediately. And so it's been, 4 years now, or
6.5.
So how familiar are you with the Indian template?
I'm just unfamiliar and just learning. I've seen a handful of films, I've seen Bowman's work, and now I'm opening myself up to see if we can't find a bridge. So I hope to be well versed by the next time you and I speak.
Oh, thank you.
Bowman, congratulations. Can you say something about Irani movie tone? How did you come up with this particular?
Okay, I grew up in Belasses Road, opposite a cinema called Alexander Cinema.
Yeah.
So strange, right? Alexander Cinema was my cinema paradiso. And I used to be there every day, and I knew the projectionist just like that little kid. I knew Lakshman. I used to watch movies sometimes from there. It was a great feeling. Alexander Cinema was owned by Ardeshir Irani, the man who gave us India's first talkie, Alamara. Ardeshir Irani owned that cinema. What a coincidence that is. The name of his company, the Alamara company, was Imperial Movie Tone, a Parsi company. Adi Irani was the cameraman, Ardeshir Irani director, producer. All the Wadia movie tones, the Hunter Wali films, were from a Parsi company again called Wadia Movietone. I said, so if we are going back to the basics, such as
Minerva movie.
Minerva Movietone, going back to writing,
Yeah.
I think I should go back to where it all began, with Adesh Harirani, Imperial Movietone, Minerva Movietone, Wadia Movietone, and my Alexander Cinema. And I decided to go the old-fashioned way, shoot it the old-fashioned way, and call it Irani Movietone, which is a very old-fashioned, forgotten way. I mean, if tomorrow you said we don't say productions, we say something else. So why would they call it productions? Suppose you say Dharma Productions. Why did they call it Dharma Productions 50 years or 100 years later? Every film company was called something Movietone. So I just said, let's bring that little culture back. Let's go back to where we have the sweetest memories of our lives, in the cinema, in the dark, and I hope it's reflected in the moving logo that we have produced. And, well, we will have that celebration on another day, soon. On another day, I just wanted this to be, we're putting our name out there with the message, with our message, charter and mandate that this is what we want to concentrate on. We have Alex, who's happy to support maybe some young writers over here. We've got a plan, we're hatching in our heads. But the first production hopefully is the one that I have written, which I've been working on. If something else comes up before that, which I think that would be premature, maybe that. But the idea is to develop good stories. If the good story is on the page, we'll have good cinema on the screen.
Sir, you made your name from film Munna Bhai MBBS. So how far do you think Rajkumar Hirani is responsible for your growth?
Next question.
It's a very
It's a straight, yeah. I think beginnings like this, 10, 20 years later, you'll ask me how far was Alex's influence. Yeah, great influence. Thank you.
Last question.
जानना चाहेंगे राजकुमार हिरानी पर मीटू का
Can you
जानना चाहेंगे आखिर क्या वो हमें कहीं और नहीं मिलता हमारे
on the right platform.
Right.
और आमिर खान है
Right.
तो